Welcome back to the channel. I'm Super Retro Boss, and today we're going to do something a little different. I had a request in a comment to one of the videos of people asking what my setup looked like. So I am going to attempt to show you as best I can today. I'm going to use this webcam. It's going to be shaky, but it'll let me point to my camera and explain kind of how that setup all looks like. So yeah, excuse all the wires. I pulled a lot of it out so I could show you everything, but here we go. I will provide links in the description for all the items that I'm talking about today, so it's easy for you guys to find them if you're looking for a similar setup. Okay, so here's my camera setup. I just have a super cheap ring light that I can turn on and off and kind of swing out of the way as I'm using it or not using it. But my main camera that I'm using to show all the controller in the game and everything is just a Canon R8. The lens is just the stock lens that comes with it. I can adjust the zoom as normal to however I need it. Okay, so attached to the back, it's mounted to a quick release. That way I can take the camera off and just use it as a normal camera for whatever I want to take pictures with. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Attached to that quick release, I have a ball mount. That lets me swivel it up and down as needed. But to be honest, I found that position basically works perfectly. So I haven't really adjusted it from this angle here. But attached to the ball mount, there's the wall mount. The wall mount lets me, swing it completely out of the way or telescope it back and forward if I need to move it. But again, this position basically is where I've kept it for every video that I've made. I just found the good spot, and now that's where it sits. But I do, after every time I take videos, I do push it out of the way so my head doesn't hit it or whatnot. So from wiring point of view, though, the Canon R8 comes with a micro HDMI output. So I have a micro HDMI to HDMI adapter. From there, we have the HDMI cable that goes all the way up and ugly out of the way here. Comes all the way down to a Elgato Camlink 4K. This particular camera, though, it does do 4K, but I found that it kind of overheats when I used 4K. And plus, almost all the retro games that I've been using, they're obviously not 4K. So I've just been recording at 1080. And that's been working pretty well so far. In terms of settings, getting it configured just right for how I've been wanting to use it, that was a little tricky, but after a little bit of work, it's been flawless so far. It does have a dummy battery attached. It's going to be hard to see here, but there's a dummy battery attached in here, so I'm not just using batteries, recharging batteries. So it's just a dummy battery attached to an AC adapter, and that AC adapter is running all the way down and plugging directly into the wall. So yeah, I think I mentioned already the ring light. The ring light just swings over, and way down here, there's just an on-off button. I'm not going to show it. Well, I will, I guess, but it's just going to be too bright. So that's the ring light. I'll usually leave it on while recording to get a little better lighting. So in terms of audio, let me put that away. Okay, in terms of audio, I have the Shure microphone. It's the, what is it? The MV, yeah, the MV7 with the USB attachment. It works. The microphone sounds pretty darn good. I don't know if I like the USB attachment. I pushed installing it, I made the wire a little too tight, and it's already bent it in there a little bit, but it works. I haven't been complaining too much. I haven't found a great distance here. Like once I get it set up, the sound sounds pretty good. But if I pull it a little too far away, it gets really quiet really quickly. There are some configurations that say I can keep it even 18 inches away from my mouth. I have honestly not found the configurations in the settings to work as well as I've been hoping. But it works. It sounds good as long as I keep it closer to my mouth. That's just held on by this this arm here. I just use a rod to keep it locked in place, and that's working pretty well. So now on to the games. And how do the games set up? So here we have just a standard Famicom. As much as I try to use the original hardware as much as I can, assuming I can get some decent output from the console. So this one is just using the standard composite cable that came with the Super Nintendo and the Super Famicom. So as you can see, that cable comes all the way over to here, which is just a super cheap composite cable to HDMI output. And from the HDMI output, then we come all the way over here, which is the Elgato HD 60X, I believe. And then from there, it's USB-C going straight to the computer for input. So if I'm swapping out a console, if it's composite, I can just replace the composite with the new one. I have another box here if I'm trying to do a component-based console. This one, though, I have not used for any of the videos quite yet. I haven't played a component-based console yet, or made videos for one anyway. But this is probably what I'm going to give it a shot and see kind of how it works. Now, for Game Boy games, or Game Gear, or any of those, I use this Analog Pocket. I was using the Super Game Boy on the Super Famicom to get the Game Boy games, but obviously it doesn't work with Game Boy Advance games or Game Gear games. But I was using that for a while. Then I got the GameCube Game Boy player. That one let me use that let me play Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, Game Boy Advance, but obviously still not Game Gear and all the other ones. Anyway, I got the Analog Pocket. That will give me an HDMI, and I can use adapters like these to let me play some of the other consoles. And that's been making some pretty good clear HDMI output. So when I do that, that one just plugs in directly into the Elgato HD 60X, and I just swap out the HDMI cables. I am looking into an HDMI switcher, so I don't have to keep swapping out cables. I can just plug in one from the switcher and then choose the channel I want. But I haven't quite gotten there yet. One thing that I haven't mentioned that I forgot to was that some of my even older consoles, they're only RF coaxial based. I have looked into some coaxial to HDMI converter boxes, but I haven't found one that worked perfectly, that provided me with a really nice output that I've wanted to use. So I haven't switched completely to that. And that's why, for example, in the Atari, I have the Atari 2600 Plus, which is giving me that HDMI output. But like my Odyssey 2, they don't have anything like that right now. So that's why we haven't seen any Odyssey 2 based games or some of the other older consoles like that. So when trying to make videos for some of these consoles, I'll definitely do a little bit of research for the consoles and see what their capabilities are. So here we have the original Famicom, and the original Famicom only has an RF based output, which like I mentioned, can sometimes not produce the best quality of output. And I don't really want to start hacking into one of these and modifying them in order to actually produce cleaner output. But they did make the newer version of the Famicom top loader, and this one has the standard Super Famicom based type composite output. So when I'm making these videos, I'm just going to use the composite based output top loader compared to something like the RF one. So doing a little bit of research to find out which one is going to be better for the video output is definitely helping in the long run. So that's one reason why, like for this one example, I had to hunt around to find a good console that I can use to make the videos out of. I have thought about using something like RetroTink to get better quality output. Going from a composite to even 4K or component or whatever video. What I have seems to work, and it's kind of hard for me at the moment to justify the price and the cost of switching to something that would probably be better, but I just don't know how much better. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't introduced something like that to try to get even better quality video. Yeah. In terms of software, here we have OBS, picture in picture in picture. So OBS is the main screen. Let me see if I can try to share my screen to get a cleaner video though. So give me a second. Okay. So now we're looking at OBS. Right now I'm using an external recorder. Otherwise, you won't be able to see exactly what I'm showing you here. But in OBS, basically over here on the left, we have scenes. And usually I'll have mostly 3 scenes, but I've broken them into different consoles. So here we have the Super Famicom, and Nintendo 64 type consoles. And I can kind of lump them all together because they're all similar resolutions. And they all output this the same size windows and everything like that. But if I have analog Game Boy, a Game Boy game through the analog, then the resolution's a little different compared to even Game Gear. So I'm kind of breaking those apart, and I'll kind of explain why here in a minute. So on the left, right, we have scenes, and those, I can switch between the camera screen, and then I can switch to the game itself, and then I can switch to my end screen that I show at the end of every video. So usually I'll start with the camera here. That's when I'm showing you the game, and that's the camera right above me, right? And I can just hold up the game. It will automatically focus onto the game for the most part, right? But it does a decent job as long as I get it just right in the light. And if not, usually since it's at the beginning of the video, I can just, stop recording and then, start a brand new recording. So then after I get the intro done, then I flip over to the game. That's where you'll see, here I have my microphone. I can see how loud I'm talking. Here we have the game audio. I've noticed that, at least for mine, the audio has been from the consoles have been a little too loud. So I've been having to decrease that, so at least you can hear my voice over the top of the game audio. And then finally, the last scene. Here we have a picture of the last slide. But over here, I should probably mention that I have a Scene Notes plugin, and that will just give me a quick reminder of what I'm trying to say or how I'm trying to summarize the video. But I have that on each one of the screens, like, welcome back to the channel, or here, just a reminder that I need to change the game title or the console name over here. Just to make sure it matches what the game is, because all these are being reused over and over again. So that is the scenes on the left. Over here we have the sources, and that's just where the bits of information are coming from. So for example, here we have the Camlink 4K. So as I kind of mentioned before, that's the video coming from my camera through the HDMI micro to HDMI, through the HDMI extension cable, all the way to the Camlink 4K that's plugged directly in the computer. And that's how I can get this video directly above me, and I can place that box wherever I want it to. So here I just have the title. So, Famicom, let's say I'm not making a Famicom game. I don't want to make a Nintendo 64 game. So I can just flip these on and off without having to recreate everything from scratch. So the game title, here's the game title screen. I can just update it as I need to for the game. And then usually I'll have to recenter it. That's why it's not perfect. And I'm not too worried about it being perfectly centered as long as it's on there. And then we have some static ones, like the like and subscribe, that just stay there forever, as well as the character. Those are just images. So adding new ones, though, it's pretty easy and pretty straightforward. You just select what you're trying to include. Like if I want to include an image, I'd click on image. And then that would allow me to select an image from my hard drive and put it directly onto the screen. So here we have the microphone. Not a whole lot to say for the microphone. The microphone was pretty easy setup since it's already USB. It's just directly plugged into my computer. I've selected the microphone here, the device that I wanted to use. And then over here, we had to adjust the decibels, increasing it just a little bit to make it sound pretty good over the top of the video. For the video, now this is kind of the tricky part and why I've split all these apart and why I have so many of these. This is kind of annoying, actually. At least the initial setup is kind of annoying, because not only are we creating the video, but we have to make sure it's the right resolution. A lot of these I've had to transform. So here, basically, you have to do a little bit of math to figure out how to keep the correct aspect ratio for the device, for the console that we're trying to use, and make it fit onto the screen just right. Especially some of the like the Atari 2600 screens. There's a large black border. The screen, the video output is not taking up the entire screen. So there's a large black border that, I didn't want to display every time when there's valuable real estate that we could be taking advantage of. So, trying to get that zoom kind of captured with that transform to make it a little more visible and take up a little more space is what I've been trying to do. But getting that just right has been kind of annoying. With the transformations here to get it to right. But I mean, once it's set, for the most part, you don't ever touch it. And that's kind of why you see multiple things over and over and over again, because I got it tweaked just how I like it. And so then I just keep them there. So then, like here, you'll notice there's only these 3 in a row. Some of these, they're carryovers, and I haven't updated them since previous videos. But basically, I'll go from, the camera over to the game cam, followed by the end screen. For this one, for example, we have the analog camera. We have 2 different ones, one for regular Game Boys, Game Boy games, and one for Game Boy Colors. I noticed that Game Boy Color screens, they're a little more zoomed than the Game Boy games, the output video that are coming from there. So you know, I had to make it a brand new scene with a brand new source output that has a little different transformation just to get it to work kind of how I like it. So that is probably the most annoying configuration out of all the OBS stuff that you'll see here. Now, one other thing that's probably pretty important in this setup is how the output for the audio is configured. So from here, if you go to the settings, the advanced audio properties here, what you'll notice is in the tracks. So not only here where I, manually adjusted the decibel audio for certain audio sources, but over here is the tracks. And right now, I have on track 1, I have the microphone audio as well as the game audio. So Elgato audio is where some of the game audio is coming out of. So track 1 is both. And then I have on track 2 just the game audio, followed by track 3, which is just the microphone audio. And the reason to have that split here is so on track 1, let's say I record a video and nothing goes wrong in that video. I can just take that, one shot creative video, shove it directly onto YouTube, and we're done, right? The video is up and there's no problem. But occasionally, right, maybe I'll sneeze or I'll cough or, heaven forbid, I'll swear if it's a real frustrating game. I don't really want to include some of that type of audio into the final output. So having track 3 be split as well as the game, so I have the game on one track and the audio itself on another, that will let me go into the video editor that I'll show you next to, turn audio off in one of these tracks while continuing to play the game audio. So I'll have the game audio continue on track 2, and then the microphone audio I can disable or turn back on as needed to kind of crop out whatever I'm needing to cut out. So that is OBS and kind of how I have it configured. Okay, so continuing with the last video, there are times where occasionally, mistakes happen during the video, and I need to kind of clean them up. So what I use is DaVinci Resolve, the free version. I'm not paying for anything like this, and I'll also say that I'm not an expert here. But I know enough to be dangerous and get by with what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to show a example here, and I'm just going to pick one of the videos that I've already done, and I'm going to copy that into here. So this is just Wild Tracks, the original Wild Tracks video that I created. So I'm going to add this video. This is the raw video that I've taken. So it's first going to ask me if I want to change the frame rate, and I can say sure or I can say not. I'll just say go ahead, and then I'll move on here. So this is the media. So I'm going to take the media. I'm going to drop it onto my timeline, and so now I have my video. I'm going to switch over to the cutter. And so here in the cutter, you can see the video, which is just in the video 1 track. And then we can see the audio down below. And so like I mentioned in when I was showing OBS, I have 3 tracks. One that is the everything track. So it would be the game audio as well as me talking. And then the audio track 2, which is just the game audio, followed by track 3, which is just my voice. So I made a mistake when recording this. I can hear the audio coming out of DaVinci while you guys can't. I don't think it's going to detract too much from the video. I think you'll still get the gist of what's going on. But just keep that in mind that there are things that I can hear that you may not be able to. Welcome back to Turtle. All right, so this is the track 1 that has everything, and it's unmuted right now. So if I play here, we should hear audio from the game. Yep. Okay. So if I unmute just the second track, we hear just the game. And if I unmute the third, we can only hear just me. So right here, we'll see something. Get out of that grass. Perfect. So let's say that was a cough. So what I can do here is, instead of just using the first audio track, what I'll do after I get it imported is I'm going to mute the first audio track, which is both, and then I'm just going to use both of these audio tracks and have them merged together. So what I can do is, right, I have here, get out of that grass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit the Alt button. This is a Windows machine, but if I hit Alt around the audio that I do not want, then I can select just that section and basically say audio off and mute it out. So now, no more of whatever I said. Get out of the grass. Right? Get out of that grass. No more of that if I mute it. Or let's say, me and another person are trying to take a video, and one person happens to be a little too far away from the microphone. I can do the opposite, and I can select certain audio chunks using this method, and I can increase the volume, increase the decibels for that section. Get out of that grass. And so this is an easy way for me to adjust one audio track by splitting that apart. If it was all into one track, I wouldn't have that option to mute just one thing, or the other would be everything, right? So I wouldn't have any game audio by doing it that way. Right, everything's muted at that point. So definitely split the tracks. That way you can do a little post editing if you need to. Also, occasionally I have forgotten to change the title by accident, and I didn't realize that until the video was complete. In here, you can also add some solid colors. Create a box if you need to cover things up, and then picking the right font, you can type in something else for the entirety of the video, and make a few little tweaks after the fact. So yeah, I don't try to do anything fancy because, again, I'm not an expert here, but I can definitely get enough done to do what I need to. Usually after I'm done with this section, I'll go straight to the delivery, and from here, basically I choose the output that I'm looking for, where I want to save it. I'll usually start with 1080p YouTube output, but I'll usually bump it up to 265 video codec. And then after that, I'll add my completed video to the render queue. It's going to ask me to save it somewhere. But yeah, I'll add it to the render queue and then click render all, and that's going to re-output me a new MP4. Once I have that MP4, I can shove that directly into YouTube and then make any adjustments in YouTube that I need to do. Let's go ahead and talk about YouTube. Here we have some games in the channel. So how I usually handle this is all the way up here. I'll just say upload the video. I can drag my copy of a video right into here, and I'll go ahead and do that right now. I'm not actually going to create this video, but for the sake of this, I'm going to show you. I'm going to update all the information that I need to. Usually I'll make a quick thumbnail out of some of the game screens. And to do that, I just use GIMP, the free photo editing tool. which is, similar to Photoshop, but it's free, and it works pretty well. So I'll just drag in the screenshots that I usually make. So for example, I'll take these 3. So here's Wild Tracks. Okay, that's the one. I'm missing the screenshots. Here we go. So yeah, here's the screenshots, and the title screen. So usually I'll just crop them to the correct size, and then I'll choose usually the gameplay screen, enlarge that back up to 1080, make it fit somewhere. Then I'll take the background here. This cartridge. I usually take the screen off the image. I'll crop it, resize that, and shove it where I want to make it look good. So yeah, once I get that, then we're filling this out. So I'll add some tags. I'll select the game title, right? So this will just be Wild Tracks. I found that it doesn't have every game that I wanted to. This is actually Stunt Race FX in the US. So even like here, it doesn't have some of the Japanese games, or at least the titles of the Japanese games that I want to put in. I'll add some playlists for wherever this belongs, but then I'll move over to the video element screen. Usually I'll just add the end screen. So it says here we got to wait for it to process at least a standard definition. So usually, because I'm kind of going fast, usually by the time I get to the screen, it's ready to go. Or, I'll start the upload of the video while I'm making the thumbnail image. So the thumbnail image, it takes me about 3 to 5 minutes to, quickly glue the thumbnail image together that I want to use. And by that time, this screen will be ready. Let's hope it's ready. It's not ready yet. But we can keep going, and I'll show the rest of it, and hopefully it'll be ready there. Copyright checks. Usually it skips the copyright. I'm a little curious how it's going to work when we get to a game like Tony Hawk, where there's a whole lot of video being played, music being played in the background. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if we'll do a Tony Hawk type game. But then we get to the save or publish screen. Almost all of my videos are scheduled for weekly Sunday-ish release. At least they are now. At the beginning, when I was first making videos, they were every other day. But that got to be a little overwhelming. So now I post pretty much weekly, and then I'll set it for whatever time that I'm looking for. That way, videos are coming out. I can do videos in advance. If I know that I'm going to be busy for the next couple weeks, I can just create a few videos, in advance to cover whatever those events are. So, all right, video elements are now available. So here I can go to the add and end screen, and I'll just click import. Usually I'll start by just importing from one of my other videos. So I'll just grab this one here. So at the very end, you'll see, these 3 windows pop up, a video that's best for the user, most recently uploaded, as well as the subscribe icon in the middle. So like I said, I have an end screen. I think when I originally created this, I looked for templates, online. There's some YouTube end screen templates that I found that give me the right height of where I want to put it and things like that, so that it's easy to just throw the end screen up there and have all these boxes stay in the same spot. So if I import from another video, I know these boxes are already adjusted right, and I don't have to move them around. But then here, what I'll do is I'll scrub around until I find that end screen right there, and then I'll just drag it up to right about the end and give it one of these so it all pops up nicely instead of they all just jump up right in a row. It'll be 1, 2, 3, and then that just trails out through the rest of the video. So yeah, that's kind of how the YouTube side works. After that, usually I'll hit save, click next, right, and then I'll click schedule the video. since this one's already available, obviously I'm not going to be scheduling that one. But that'll give you an idea of how I make the videos and how they get put on the channel. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed seeing some of that backstage, behind the scenes, how it all works stuff that I got going on. So yeah, maybe next time we can get back to some videos. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe. If you have any other requests, go ahead and submit a comment. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, thanks for watching. Let's do another one soon.